SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
At Community Bank, we're more than a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors and trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've helped families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. We're dedicated to your success every step of the way. Community Bank, member FDIC.
It's time to talk about dogs.
Bulldogs have won it.
Talkin Dawgs, that is, with Robbie Faulk, right here on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk is on your radio here on SuperTalk 100.9, supertalk.fm, and on the SuperTalk app. We also have this anywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure you download this podcast. But thank you, folks, for tuning in once again on this beautiful Wednesday morning here in Starkville, Mississippi. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday and your week has started off great. The 2026 year is underway. It's no longer really the new year. It's no longer resolution time. You should have already made those resolutions. You should be locked and loaded and right back into your groove. You got Martin Luther King Day coming up next week, but the holidays are pretty much over and we are right back into the groove. Mississippi State is in the middle of portal season for football. We have a lot to talk about there. Basketball season has heated up as SEC play has begun for Chris Jans and Sam Purcell. We're going to talk about that as well. Plenty of things going on here in Mississippi State land, and I hope that you guys will stick around for the next hour to talk about it. Robbie Faulk here from On3 Sports. If you're just now tuning in for the first time at this show, I appreciate you for giving me a few minutes of your day. I'm at On3 Maroon and White Daily, also the Starkville Daily News covering high school sports in our area, in the Starkville Daily News area. We're going to have a segment later on in the show where we talk about high school basketball going on. The Starkville Yellow Jackets have been unbelievable this year. Anthony Carlisle, the boys basketball coach, Matt Wilbanks, the girls coach for the Lady Jackets, both doing an incredible job. And right now, both of those teams are the favorites to win 7A. Can they do it is going to be the question. We will talk about that as district play has begun for those two teams. They had a big one this weekend, or last weekend. They have some big games coming up this week as well. So we'll talk Yellow Jacket hoops and a few others in our area as well that are doing a great job at this point. There's just so much going on right now. This is kind of, it's not really crossover season just yet. We're in that middle zone where we had the crossover season for football and basketball, which is always a little bit hectic. And then it gets into February, and it's as hectic as it gets for a guy like me, sports writer and a podcaster, radio guy. You have basketball in the heat of it. You know, a lot of times Mississippi State is fighting for NCAA tournament. That's going on in SEC play, and then you go into baseball season beginning, which is always so big here in the state of Mississippi. It gets really busy in about a month. So I'm taking as much of a breath as I possibly can, and it's kind of hard to do that because transfer portal season is hot and heavy right now. Of course, it's the dead period, I believe, right now, a few days of the dead period where Jeff Lebby and his staff and everybody around the country, they get an opportunity to rest a little bit because Jeff Lebby has been hosting official visitors essentially every single day until this week. He's hosted official visitors every day from the day after the bowl game when they played Wake Forest until Sunday, pretty much, and until the dead period began. It's been wild, and there's been some good, there's been some bad, and there's still some things that have to be decided. It's not over yet for Mississippi State as far as the transfer portal is concerned. We're looking at a portal class that's going to be well over a couple of dozen players for Mississippi State. They had a lot of players transfer out. Almost all of them was kind of a mutual deal or Mississippi State kind of parting ways. There was essentially nobody that's transferred out at this point that Mississippi State desperately did not want to lose. And that's something that I want to talk about. It's kind of a twofold deal for Mississippi State at this point. There's certainly some holes that they have to fill in this transfer portal class. But at the same time, a lot of retention for the Bulldogs. A lot of good retention. Will that be ultimately a a major thing for this team next year? Is the transfer portal going to be not as important as we thought? I think it's still pretty important. But maybe when you keep the players that you've been able to keep, it helps soften the blow of not landing a ton of difference makers. I'll present some points when we get back here on the show, and we'll talk about Mississippi State's transfer portal haul to this point. A lot to discuss when we come back. This is Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk here on SuperTalk 100.9. You guys stay tuned.
At Bank Oklahoma, consistency isn't just something we strive for. It's our way of doing business. Whether you're in Oklahoma or Houston, Manatee or Bruce, Tupelo or Aberdeen, you'll always find friendly faces, helpful service, and hometown values. One bank, multiple communities. Consistently here for you. Find the branch nearest you at bankoklahoma.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for quality and convenience? Matheson Hardware and Building Supply has you covered. We deliver lumber, roofing, doors, windows, and more straight to your job site. And check out our full line of Milwaukee battery-powered tools, plus plumbing, electrical, and Valspar paints for every project. And now we're your local source for guns, ammo, and so much more. For over 100 years, Matheson Hardware has been built on a legacy of customer service you can trust. Go find them at 281 Scott Avenue in Matheson, Mississippi, or call them today at 662-263-4583.
Power up your convenience with the 4County mobile app. Managing your electric account has never been easier. With our free mobile app, you can view your bill, balance, and account details, report outages, track restoration progress, and make secure payments online. Stay informed by scheduling alerts and reminders for important account updates. Whether you're at home or on the go, the 4County app puts control in your hands. Download the app today and experience the power of convenience.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Hey there, I'm Lee Burrell with Citizens Bank in Starkville. If you're thinking about growing your business, whether it's adding equipment, expanding your space, or starting something new, I'd love to help make it happen. At the Citizens Bank, we're in your corner, working with you one-on-one to find lending options that fit you. So stop by and see me at 201 Highway 12 West in Starkville, or give me a call at 662-323-1420, or visit www.thecitizensbankphila.com. I'm Lee Burrell, your hometown commercial lender, here to help your business take the next big step. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Talkin Dawgs on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk is back here on SuperTalk 100.9. And once again, folks, if you are not downloaded Talkin Dawgs on your phone, if you go to your podcast app or Spotify or wherever, if you haven't done that, you need to do that. Do that right now. Go download it. Go get on your phone. If you're someone that's not as technologically paired up, I guess you could say, get one of your kids or grandkids to help you. I'm not singling out one group, but I know that sometimes for my parents, they don't like technology. They don't like how all that stuff works. They don't want to go into the details of fixing it. So get somebody to help you out. Go download Talkin Dawgs, and you can listen to this after the show. You don't even have to listen to it live on the radio. You can get it straight to your phone. You can fast forward through the commercials, whatever you want to do. But it's right there on your phone. Very convenient. You know what else is incredibly convenient? Having a great person handling your insurance. And for me, that's the good people at Alpha. And one of the best in the business is Jess Brantley and his agency over there, the team over there in West Point. They do such a great job taking care of our community. And any time of need where you have a car crash and you have to get your car fixed, they're going to take care of you there. They provide a rental car for you. They will take care of all of the logistics there at Alpha. You have your pipes freeze in your house and you have a flood in your house. How many people had that a few years ago when we had that big freeze? I hope they had Alpha Insurance taking care of them. Have a life insurance policy. Get all this stuff bundled together. Jess will take care of you right there in West Point. You can call him at 662-494-4142. Or, hey, if you want to go see him face-to-face, he'll be glad to meet you there in his office at 36 South 4th Street in West Point. Go check out Jess Brantley and Alpha Insurance today. Thank you to Jess for being here from the start, supporting Talkin Dawgs. And he supports all the local sports, too, around the area. West Point, Starkville Academy, Oak Hill, all these schools around the area. He's a big sports guy. He supports the local community. So go check out Jess today at Alpha Insurance. Mississippi State, the moment that the bowl game ended on January 2nd, the Bulldogs were straight to work on the transfer portal. And to be candid with you, the work on the transfer portal began way before it even opened for Mississippi State. Mark Vottler, the general manager for the Bulldogs, I've been in his office. I've seen, how his setup. They have a big board in there of what they're looking for, the positions that they have to hit, things of that nature. They are preparing for this well in advance. They knew Mississippi State needed offensive linemen. And not only did they need offensive linemen, they needed difference makers up front, because Mississippi State's offensive line was on full display in every game this year, but especially in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Kamaro Taylor was taking a ton of hits. He was running for his life. He had 18 carries in that game. He also got sacked a few times. Hardly ever had time to just step back and throw the ball down the field. And it was because of that offensive line. And Jeff Lebby said in the spring, before we even started Talkin Dawgs here on SuperTalk, before you even heard my voice here on this show, if you were a listener of Thunder and Lightning, the podcast with myself and Brian Haydad, you heard us talk plenty back last spring, almost a complete year ago. Jeff Lebby came out in practice one when we talked to him in the press conference. He came out and he told us, hey, we're not happy with our offensive line. We're going to have to go out in the spring portal, because at the time there were 2 portal windows. We're going to have to go out in the spring portal, and we're going to have to go get difference makers up front that can change what we do on the offensive line, because what we have is not going to work in this league. Jeff Lebby told us that. This was shortly after Phil Lodeholt was hired. Lebby fired Cody Kennedy off of that staff and brought in Phil Lodeholt, which it's no secret. Those guys are friends. They coached together. They were with each other at Oklahoma. They were with each other at Ole Miss. Lodeholt was at Colorado as the offensive line coach the season before. And, I've always heard from my sources, when Lebby got the opportunity to name Phil Lodeholt his offensive line coach, that was going to be something that he pursued. He wanted to bring Lodeholt on as an assistant offensive line coach, I believe, his first year. Maybe he was an offensive analyst. I can't remember which. But Lodeholt got the opportunity to be a O-line coach at Colorado. So he brings him on this year. Lodeholt, to me, at least from a perception standpoint, he made an impression right away. He comes in, and in the spring, he goes out and he gets Blake Steen, who was a starting right tackle at Virginia. He brought in Zachary Owens, who is, he's known as Flapjack. He was a guy that was fairly wanted coming out of high school. We played a little bit at Colorado. There's tremendous upside with Owens. There's no doubt about it. He brought in Javen James, who was at Maryland and Akron. He brought in some guys that could compete on the line of scrimmage right away. I mean, they looked different. When those guys came in, they were a different kind of body than what Mississippi State had. So when they came in the summer, it looked like Mississippi State had upgraded. And I'm here to say that I think that they did upgrade from what they had. I don't think there's any doubt that Blake Steen, Owens, and Javen James were better than what they had, which is a very scary thought. If Mississippi State would have kept what they had and have not added what they did, my goodness. But as the season progressed, Jimothy Lewis didn't pan out. That was a guy you were really counting on to help you at tackle as a redshirt freshman. He was picking up a lot of steam behind the scenes. There was a lot of talk about Luke Work making a jump after he had played a lot as a true freshman. Those were two young offensive linemen that they were really excited about, and they just did not pan out. Jimothy Lewis is now transferring to Cal. Hit the transfer portal. Luke Work is going to Missouri. But neither one of those guys were great this year. Albert Reese was off and on injured. That really disrupted the line of scrimmage. Blake Steen went down in the first game, was having a really bad first half of his first game. But I'm kind of one of those of the opinion that I think he would have helped Mississippi State this year. A lot of people disagree with that because of what they saw in that Southern Miss game, and I totally understand that. I understand that point of view. We have not seen Blake Steen, but he was good enough at Virginia. I just really doubt that he would have been that bad for the rest of the year. I think he would have helped. So Steen went down for the entire season, and you just did not have the guys up front. And this offensive line just got absolutely destroyed in every single ball game during SEC play. I mean, they could not block. They couldn't open up holes for the run game. They couldn't protect for Blake Shapen. They couldn't protect for Kamario Taylor. Now, Taylor made it look a little easier against Ole Miss and Wake Forest. I don't know if easier is the right word, but he picked up a ton of yards on the ground by just extending plays himself, but the offensive line did nothing to help. So, with that said, you go into portal season knowing that you have got to be better. And to this point in the transfer portal, we just have not seen Mississippi State do that. Now, full disclosure, I am going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm actually, as we're speaking today, I'm coming back from Pittsburgh. I'd already left. I recorded this ahead of time, so a little behind-the-scenes magic. I'm not lying to you. This is what happened. But as I'm recording this, which is, again, full disclosure, on a Saturday late night, Mississippi State has not done the work needed to, in my opinion, improve this offensive line tremendously the way they need to. They have a commitment, a signing from Florida State's Mario Nash from Kipper County, familiar name for Mississippi State fans. They have a signing from Florida State's Jalen Matthews, who is a redshirt freshman, just like Mario Nash, has not contributed a whole lot just yet. They have a commitment from L.J. Prudhomme from Arkansas, again, a redshirt freshman who has not contributed a whole lot. And that's it at this point. Now, they could have more commitment since then, and if they have and they've set the world on fire, then just don't listen to me, but I will probably come back on Thunder and Lightning, and I'll tell you, great job. But as of now, Phil Lodeholt is not doing what he needs to do, or Jeff Lebby, to correct the wrongs. So there's a lot of things that have to happen for Mississippi State, and they've got to get difference makers on campus. There haven't been enough difference makers coming on campus for visits. There's a lot more that we want to talk about. I'm running out of time before we get to the break, but when we get back from the break, I'm going to discuss this further, this entire transfer portal class to this point. Is it enough to allow Jeff Lebby to continue to be coaching at Mississippi State in 2027? That is the question now for the Bulldogs, and we'll discuss it when we come back. All right, going to take a quick break. This is Talkin Dawgs, Robbie Faulk, here on SuperTalk 100.9.
Hello, I'm Lee Burrell, proudly serving Tibahaw County. The Citizens Bank has been serving our community for over 116 years, and I'm proud to be part of this vital community bank. With over 22 years of financial experience in commercial, mortgage, and consumer lending, I'm here to help with all your loan and deposit needs. Call me at 662-323-1420 or stop by my office located at 201 Highway 12 and say hello. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with you soon. The Citizens Bank, www.thecitizensvilla.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The newest evolution of Farmall elevates performance, comfort, and styling to continue the legacy of this legendary tractor. The new Farmall Medium Utility C-Series features 4 models that combine power and technology for use on the farm and in the field. FieldOps connectivity enables geolocation and remote monitoring of machine functions, while a heavy-duty front axle, increased hydraulic flow, and more rear lift capacity provide the power to handle more work with ease. Case IH, built by farmers. Stop by H&R AgriPower at 841 South Frontage Road in Columbus today to find out more about the all-new Farmall C.
Fork County Electric Power Association has spent more than 85 years working to improve the quality of life of all we touch. And that's why we created the Fork County Foundation. Thanks to the generosity of Fork County member owners, the foundation has awarded more than $2.5 million to organizations that support the communities we serve. If you have a 501c3 organization that helps improve the lives of Fork County members, visit forkcounty.org and see if the Fork County Foundation can help you.
Looking for quality and convenience? Matheson Hardware and Building Supply has you covered. We deliver lumber, roofing, doors, windows, and more straight to your job site. And check out our full line of Milwaukee battery-powered tools, plus plumbing, electrical, and Valspar paints for every project. And now we're your local source for guns, ammo, and so much more. For over 100 years, Matheson Hardware has been built on a legacy of customer service you can trust. Go find them at 281 Scott Avenue in Matheson, Mississippi, or call them today at 662-263-4583.
At Bank Okolona, consistency isn't just something we strive for. It's our way of doing business. Whether you're in Okolona or Houston, Manatee or Bruce, Tupelo or Aberdeen, you'll always find friendly faces, helpful service, and hometown values. One bank, multiple communities. Consistently here for you. Find the branch nearest you at bankokolona.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're taking it all. Talkin Dawgs on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk is back here on SuperTalk 100.9, SuperTalk.fm, the SuperTalk app. Thank you guys for tuning in for yet another Wednesday morning here in the Golden Triangle. And a lot of Mississippi State sports talk going on today. I hope you're enjoying it to this point. I hope you guys will go enjoy Matheson Hardware and Building Supply in downtown Matheson, the big city in Webster County, right off the highway and Highway 82. If you're taking that highway, if you're in Starkville area, you're going towards Memphis, I guess, on 82. Stop right there at the four-way stop in Matheson and go check out Matheson Hardware. They have so many things in there. They have some local knickknacks. That's the thing I really love about this place is they support local crafts and local businesses with a little section in the store where they put those items out. You can go check that stuff out. But they have all kinds of stuff in there that you guys need to go look at. They have some brand new guns in there. Obviously, if you're a handyman, they have Milwaukee tools. They have Valspar paint for those looking to upgrade your paint in your house. They obviously have the hardware as well, and they will deliver to your job site. So go check them out today over on Scott Avenue in Matheson, Mississippi, right on the railroad tracks across the street from the post office there in Matheson. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and on Saturday, 7 a.m. to noon. Are closed on Sundays, but you can go see them 6 days a week over there. You can also call them at 662-263-4583. They'd love to see you over there at Matheson Hardware. All right, so we talked about the offensive line, and I think it's just kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Everybody knows that Mississippi State has got to be better on the offensive line, and as of last week, it just did not feel like the Bulldogs have gotten better, at least not exponentially. And they need to be much better because you're trying to protect your quarterback first and foremost. And Kamario Taylor, this is the future, actually it's the present of your program. And he is a superstar in the making. But he cannot do it behind an offensive line that can't block. And unless this offensive line gets much better, it's going to get tougher and tougher for this team to go win ball games in the league. And ultimately, that's what's going to save Jeff Lebby's job. It's not showing that you're getting better by improving your stats. It's not being more exciting at quarterback with Kamario Taylor. It's simply winning ball games. And right now, he's not. He's 7-18. He was 2-10 in year one. He definitely improved this year. You know, Mississippi State was 5-7 in the regular season. They end the year 5-8. They beat a Power 4 team in Arizona State in a really exciting game. They got their first SEC win going on the road at Arkansas, but he's yet to win an SEC game at home, and he's had several chances to win ball games that he couldn't win. And to me, it starts on the offensive line. They've really been bad on the offensive line and also defensively. They've not had the guys on defense or the coaching to win ball games. This was a team that gave up 38 points per game in SEC play, just absolutely abysmal. And the year prior, it was one of the worst defenses we've seen at Mississippi State, period, but especially since the early 2000s. And this year, when SEC play hit, they didn't look, as the season went on, they didn't look a whole lot better than they were last year. So Coleman Hutzler was fired. I can almost guarantee you that this defense will be much better next year. I don't feel like I'm going out on a limb there. I think Zach Arnett is a better defensive coordinator by a long shot than Coleman Hutzler. And I think the defense is going to have better players on it. They've returned a lot of really good players. You look at the guys that have announced they're returning at this point. Isaac Smith is back. Will Whitson is back. Zachary Tillman, Darian Gillette. Kelly Jones was a huge returnee for Mississippi State. He's coming back as well, a potential first-round draft pick at corner. And I think they've done a really good job in the secondary in this transfer portal. Let's talk about these secondary players. If you look at the guys that they've brought in here at cornerback, Quentin Taylor from Iowa State, who I think is going to be Mississippi State's number 2, that's an upgrade from Diego Broomfield. I don't think there's any question about it. Caleb Singleton from Syracuse, 2 young guys that are talented, and then Jamrock Grimsley from Florida. That's 3 Power 4 players right there that all have multiple years left that have played significant snaps in the Power 4. One of them in the SEC and Jamrock Grimsley. And then you added a safety in Marcus Williams from Rice, who is a really good tackler that's going to be back there. So your secondary, to me, has already improved. I think there's no question about that. Now, they need to add some more pieces, especially at the safety position. There's probably 2 more safeties they might need to add just to add more depth there. But the defensive backfield is much better, I think, going into this year. So now you look at up front. You got Will Whitson back at defensive end. That's a big returner. Was on pace to have a monster year for Mississippi State, went down with an injury. It might be a blessing in disguise for the Bulldogs that he's back. You added Jason Jenkins from Florida State. Hasn't put up huge numbers in his career, but was set to have a good year for Florida State before he went down with an injury. He was not. He played, but he was not the same. He had Liz Frank, and Zach Arnett saw him enough that he said this guy needs to be on our team. So I trust Zach Arnett's evaluation of him. And he's played at Tennessee. He's played at Florida State. He's a talented player, and he's big. He's going to eat up space in the middle. So I don't hate that pickup at all. Amari Williams from Florida State coming in, an edge player, talented, but he was playing tight end edge at Florida State, hasn't really stuck it out at one place. Mississippi State wants him exclusively at edge. So we'll see how he does in that position. But hasn't proven a whole lot at this point. I know Florida State fans were not happy that he was gone. They really liked him. Great pedigree. His dad played in the NFL, Mo Williams. So, we'll see. High upside player. Gus Cordova from USC, extremely high upside player. Has a little baggage. He had a couple of concerns coming out of high school, but and he redshirted this year. But looks like on film to me, really high motor pass rusher. And Mississippi State hasn't had many of those guys. I like this kid. I like him a lot. But again, high upside, very little production. That's what this transfer portal class is right now. Marquise Johnson, the wide receiver, production and high upside. I think that's the best pickup of the entire class at this point. Jason Jenkins, high upside, not a lot of production. A.J. Swan, that's just kind of a guy that an emergency quarterback. If he's playing major reps for you, I just don't think he's got the skill set to be a major factor for State. Mario Nash, high upside, no production. Quentin Taylor, Singleton, Grimsley, those guys have had some production and they got some upside. I like those players. I like Marcus Williams. He's a veteran. You look at Jalen Matthews from Florida State, the offensive lineman, almost no production. Amari Williams, very little production. LJ Prudhomme, very little production. Gus Cordova, very little production. And recently they picked up Riley Williams, the tight end. He was at Miami and Oregon State. He was injured most of last year. So there's just not a ton of difference makers that have proven it in this transfer portal class right now for State. That's the problem. And when you're in a time in 2026 where you absolutely have to win if you're Jeff Lebby, that's dangerous. Now, again, we talked about the retention thing. I told you we were going to discuss that. Mississippi State's put a lot of money into keeping players, and I think that's going to be a huge factor. This is going to be year 3 for a lot of guys. I believe that they're going to take steps forward. When you look at Kelly Jones, even he can get better. Zachary Tillman back in a defense that I think is really going to help him. Isaac Smith's the same way. These guys are going to get better. And I think Mississippi State should be a better team next year than they were this year. But is that going to be good enough for Jeff Lebby? That's the question. I think it's going to take 7 wins to comfortably keep your job if you're Jeff Lebby. I don't know if this fan base will sign up for 6-6. I just don't. I don't know. That might be enough for Zach Selman. I have no clue. I don't know where he stands on that. But Jeff Lebby's got to win. And the rest of this transfer portal class could be the difference. I mean, as far as the offensive line is concerned, I think he needs to land at least 2 proven tackles, guys that have done it, that can come in and that can start for Mississippi State. I think he's got to do that. I think he's got to land 2 of those guys and probably another guy in there that's a pretty productive guy. And you feel good about that. Now, they've missed on some huge potential edge rushers. They missed on some other linemen. They have got to close this thing out strong on the defensive and offensive lines to feel really good about where they are in year 4 or year 3. And so these next couple of weeks are massive for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, a little basketball, both Mississippi State and some local high school basketball coming your way right here on Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
At Bank Oklahoma, consistency isn't just something we strive for. It's our way of doing business. Whether you're in Oklahoma or Houston, Manatee or Bruce, Tupelo or Aberdeen, you'll always find friendly faces, helpful service, and hometown values. One bank, multiple communities. Consistently here for you. Find the branch nearest you at bankoklahoma.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Landowners, are you ready to turn your timber into real value? At Good Hope Land and Timber, we specialize in helping landowners like you make smart, sustainable decisions. Whether you're planting a final harvest, thinning a stand, development thinning, or managing your forest long term, our experienced team is here to guide you every step of the way. We're trained in the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and follow best management practices to protect your land and maximize your return. Call me, Jake Moody, at 601-416-6266. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Here at H&R AgriPower, we know you expect premium performance and dependable durability from your Case IH equipment, and you should demand the same from the parts you put inside it. Only Case IH genuine parts are guaranteed to perform to the rigorous standards of your Case IH equipment. They're engineered to work harder and last longer so you can maximize your uptime and minimize your maintenance intervals. Others can imitate, but none can replicate. Nothing beats the original. Case IH genuine parts. For Case IH genuine parts, visit H&R AgriPower at 841 South Frontage Road in Columbus.
Hello, I'm Lee Burrell, proudly serving Tibahaw County. The Citizens Bank has been serving our community for over 116 years, and I'm proud to be part of this vital community bank. With over 22 years of financial experience in commercial, mortgage, and consumer lending, I'm here to help with all your loan and deposit needs. Call me at 662-323-1420 or stop by my office located at 201 Highway 12 and say hello. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with you soon. The Citizens Bank, www.thecitizensphila.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk back here on SuperTalk 100.9, the Golden Triangle. Robbie Faulk here. And once again, I want to remind you to go check me out at Maroon and White Daily. We have a 50% off deal through this transfer portal time. We have picked up a ton of new members who are absolutely loving it over there on the True Maroon message boards. We're keeping up with everything that's going on in the transfer portal. We have some absolute psychopaths that are following this transfer portal. I mean that. I always say that. I mean it in a very good way. But as of Saturday, whenever we were recording this, we have a transfer portal thread. It actually started before the transfer portal even opened. It actually started like way back in September. People already throwing in possible names. That thing's already over 700,000 views and 15,000 posts. I'm telling you, these people are absolutely crazy in a good way. So, come join it. If you feel like you're a crazy Mississippi State fan as well, and you love following Mississippi State sports, you want to go rant about Mississippi State sports, we have the avenue for you at the True Maroon message board, and we have some good intel over there as well. Myself and Paula Jones, we work extremely hard, and we love this website. It's grown incredibly fast over 2 years, and we're so thankful for our members. So come join us over there. We got a 50% off deal on an annual subscription. You'll get 12 months for under $60, and we would love to have you over there. It's a big family. Come check us out. I'm also at the Starkville Daily News, of course, covering local high school sports there. The Starkville Daily News has been around since the early 1900s, and we're still going strong with some great high school coverage. So if you're ever in town, make sure you pick up a Starkville Daily newspaper and follow a little local high school sports. I do a little segment every now and then, especially during football season, the Starkville Daily Whip Around. Today I want to talk a little bit about we'll talk about Mississippi State shortly. Starkville High School basketball. They've been phenomenal, both teams. This is as good as I can remember where both teams were. Christy Williams and Greg Carter were such a tandem for so many years, and they really set the foundation for Starkville to become. A lot of people look at it as a football school. It's a basketball school. I mean, you look at the history, Greg Carter, and now Anthony Carlisle has come in. I think he has a bona fide state championship contending team. They have been the best team in the state this year to this point. They had their first district game of the year. Actually, it's the second district game, I believe. Yeah, they played Clinton. They played Clinton and Madison Central last week to start district play. 61-41 over Clinton. They beat Madison Central 77-43. That's a Madison Central team that put them out of the playoffs last year in the quarterfinals, and Madison Central ended up playing for a state championship against Germantown. They beat about 34. That's a good Madison Central program. Really good program. Like I said, they played for a state title last year. Now, this year, not quite as good a team. They're 8-11, but still, this Starkville team is just unbelievable. The only loss that they have to this point is against Houston, and not Houston, Mississippi. This is Houston in Germantown, Tennessee, which is playing some of the best teams in the country every single year. This is a really good Houston team, and Starkville lost to them, but you look at some of the teams that they've beaten this year. They beat a really good Boonville team by 26 points. They went out of state and beat Hillcrest and Fairhope by double digits. They beat Shades Valley in Alabama by double digits. They beat Hoover, which is always a good program, by double digits. This is a very, very good Starkville team. And so you look at the rest of the schedule, and Coming up this week, you got Oxford at home. You got Murrah coming up as well. Germantown, the big matchup in Starkville coming up next Tuesday. We'll probably talk a little bit about that next Tuesday. So it's probably going to come down to Germantown and Starkville, if I had to guess. And this Germantown team, not quite as good as they were last year. They lost two big pieces in the Williams brothers, but they're 12-4 on the year. So it's still a good team. That's going to be a fun battle. Sam Funchess coming to town in a couple of weeks, or actually next week. So that could be the decider in the end for the district. They'll close out the season on February 6th at Germantown for another big one as well. Starkville boys and girls won the district title last year. The boys advanced to the quarterfinals and lost to Madison Central. The girls went all the way to the championship game and lost to Tupelo. Now, speaking of those girls, that's a darn good team too. And had a couple of tough losses out of district over the last month against some really good teams. Their first loss of the year came against Laurel. They play Whitehaven in Tennessee. They lose that ball game by 2 points. They play Hoover, which is I think a 3-time state champion in Alabama. They lost that game by 17. But it's going to be really tough for teams to knock them off. They beat Clinton 57-29 to start district play, and then 58-40 over Madison Central. Now coming up, they have Oxford next week and Murrah. So actually this week, Oxford and Murrah. It's you look at the district, and I think it's a very winnable district for both of these teams. But they just have to continue to play hard and play their game. Anthony Carlisle and Matt Wilbanks, they scheduled very tough because they both knew that these teams would be very good. So that's kind of where they are, is they needed to challenge themselves in non-district play, so when they get into the playoffs, they are prepared for everything. 17-3 are the girls, 17-1 are the boys. What a great start to the season for both of these teams. Switching over to Mississippi State, and really confusing to know what Chris Jans and his team is. They came into the week at 10-6 on the year, 2-1 in conference play. They started the SEC play 2-0. Much to our surprise. They went to Texas and scored 101 points against the Longhorns. Went to overtime and won that ball game. They beat Oklahoma by 19, 72-53 in a vastly different game. That looked like more of a Chris Jans coach game. And then you go to Lexington on Saturday against a Kentucky team that's as beatable as it's been in a long time. You're up by 12 in the first half, and you get blown out. They lost 92-68. Completely fell apart in the second half. Mississippi State was terrible in the second half. They were outscored by 19, 48-29. And it's a very strange game. They shot almost 50%. But they were 3 for 20 from 3, and they allowed a team that's been horrible from 3, Kentucky, to shoot 41%. Turned it over 15 times. Almost well over half of those were unforced. 27 points off turnovers for Kentucky. Bulldogs gave up 14 offensive rebounds and 22 second-chance points. That's the game, folks. That is the game. 27 points off turnovers, 22 second-chance points. 35 points off the bench. Just little things from this Mississippi State team in this game lost it. Josh Hubbard, I don't know what else he can do at this point. He scored 38 in the first SEC game against Texas. He scored 30 against Oklahoma. He had 20 in this game. Was not great. He had 4 turnovers, but he's got to have a lot more help. Jaden Epps had 13 points. Achor's playing fairly well. 13 points, 11 rebounds. He was 6 of 8 from the field. I think he's playing hard. But look at the rest of these guys, man. Sean Jones with 2 points in 16 minutes. Quincy Ballard, who's 7 feet tall, has 6 points in 21 minutes and 5 rebounds. I just don't understand. 4 points from Brandon Walker, 6 points from McGee in 21 minutes. And then you got, Serge Massera in 18 minutes at 0 points. There's got to be more consistency from this team. And by the time you're listening to this, the Alabama game has happened. I have no idea what's happened in that game, but traditionally Alabama has dominated Christians. It's in Starkville on Tuesday night. So again, you're listening to this and the game's already happened. Hopefully State got the upset. Alabama was not playing well on Saturday and lost that game against Texas. But State against Kentucky now 1-21 in the last 22 games. They have not won a regular season game against Kentucky since 2009. And they lose again. Ole Miss this Saturday, that's a must-win, no matter what, 7:30 p.m. at the Hump on SEC Network. Ole Miss has not been good, but they got a big win against Missouri. And then you go to Texas A&M next week. So this team, it's a very, very, very long shot for them to make the NCAA tournament. I'm thinking they need to get probably 11 SEC wins, and Chris Jans has not won more than 8 in his first 3 seasons. So he's going to have to overachieve with this team to get him in the NCAA tournament. Not impossible, but they've got work to do. All right, guys, we're going to take another break. When we get back, we will close this sucker down here on Talkin Dawgs. I hope you'll stick around. Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk, closing us down right after the break.
At Bank Oklahoma, consistency isn't just something we strive for. It's our way of doing business. Whether you're in Oklahoma or Houston, Manatee or Bruce, Tupelo or Aberdeen, you'll always find friendly faces, helpful service, and hometown values. One bank, multiple communities. Consistently here for you. Find the branch nearest you at bankoklahoma.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking to complete those tough jobs and don't have the right equipment? Let H&R AgriPower in Columbus help you out. We now offer Kubota's mini excavators, track loaders, and L-Series tractors available for rent. You can also rent attachments like our cutter heads, grapples, post hole diggers, and more. Give H&R AgriPower a call for daily, weekly, and monthly rental rates. Stop by your hometown dealer today. Visit us at our new location, located at 841 South Frontage Road in Columbus.
Power up your convenience with the 4-County mobile app. Managing your electric account has never been easier. With our free mobile app, you can view your bill, balance, and account details, report outages, track restoration progress, and make secure payments online. Stay informed by scheduling alerts and reminders for important account updates. Whether you're at home or on the go, the 4-County app puts control in your hands. Download the app today and experience the power of convenience.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Looking to get the most out of your land? Trust the experts at Good Hope Land and Timber, your full-service land and timber company with years of experience in forestry and land management. From land and timber purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting, our team handles it all, safely, efficiently, and sustainably. Our experienced logging force is trained to the highest standards under the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Call me, Jake Moody, at 601-416-6266. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
All right, Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk is back here on SuperTalk 100.9, supertalk.fm. And once again, folks, before we head out of here, I want to remind you to download the Talkin Dawgs app. Not the app. The Talkin Dawgs podcast. You can have this episode directly sent to your phone, and you can listen to me whenever you want to. Sebastian Riley will have this thing up right after this show concludes, and it'll download directly to your phone every single time it's uploaded. It'll be right there for you. So make sure you do that right now, and give it a 5-star review. I would really enjoy that, if at all possible. All right, so we talked about the men's team. Before we get out of here, let's speak on the women's team a little bit. If Mississippi State beat top 20 Ole Miss on Sunday, that was a massive upset if it happened. Again, I mean, I hate recording this show beforehand, but I just had no choice. But tough matchup. Ole Miss just got a big win over Oklahoma, who destroyed Mississippi State, and they were in the ball game with Texas as well. That's a really good Ole Miss team. And so that was going to be a very difficult game for the Bulldogs. This stretch for the women's basketball team, Sam Purcell, is nuts. They started the year 14-1 and 1-0 in SEC play, but I've never seen a stretch like this. They lost to Oklahoma 95-47, absolute decimation. They were in the game with Tennessee, but they just kind of fought an uphill battle from the first quarter on. They lost that game 90-80. That was a 5-point game in the fourth quarter. Played hard. They just couldn't get enough stops in that game. I think Chandler Prater being out of that game really hurt them. And then you have Ole Miss. After that, you host a top 10 Vanderbilt team at the Hump tomorrow night, Thursday night, 5:30 p.m., SEC Network. You got to host Kentucky, another top 10 team, this Sunday, 2 p.m. Then you go to Alabama, top 25 team, on January 25th. You go to Tennessee, again, another top 20 team, on January 29th. That's how you close out this slate in January. Unbelievable. That is 7 consecutive top 25 matchups for the Bulldogs. I don't know if I've ever seen that. At the start of February, you host Missouri. That's going to be a must-win at that point because it's hard to imagine State comes out of this smelling like roses just with who they're playing. Not trying to be negative, but it's tough to imagine at this point that would happen. So with that in mind, when you hit the month of February, that Missouri game's a must-win. You go to South Carolina, and then you got more must-wins. Georgia at home, on the road at Arkansas, those are winnable games. At home against Florida is a winnable game. At Texas, going to be tough. A&M on the road's winnable, and then LSU. So I think the games that are gettable for Mississippi State, A&M, Florida, Arkansas, Georgia, and Missouri. That's 5 games. That gets you to 6 SEC wins. And at this point, you have to win all those considering the schedule that they have. And then you need an upset in there somewhere, I think, for Mississippi State to feel like they can have a good shot at getting the NCAA tournament. I think 7 SEC wins will get them there. That's 6 more games they got to win. And through this, you have a total of 10 ranked games, and the majority of those being against top 20 teams. It is just absolutely brutal for the Bulldogs. But Sam Purcell's coaching extremely hard. His players are playing hard for him. This is a very likable team. I'm pulling for them. Hopefully they can get this thing rolling against some really good competition coming up. All right, guys, so we're going to close this thing down. I appreciate you checking me out this week. I promise you I will be more timely next week when we have this radio show. I went to go see the Steelers on a Monday night, so I recorded this prior to that trip. I was heading out to Pittsburgh, so I apologize that we're not completely on top of things as far as the time's concerned, but at the same time, I think we had good enough conversation here on Talkin Dawgs. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you down the road.
You've been listening to Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk.
Mississippi State with a victory here.
Listen each Wednesday at 9 a.m. on SuperTalk 100.9.
Don't you know I'm gonna make it with my friends? I promised myself I'd get by. Said I'm gonna try it with a true heart.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.